The Friends of UNH Women's Hockey present Coach's Corner with head coach Brian McCloskey.
Hi, the Friends of UNH Women's Hockey presents Coach's Corner. Hi, I'm Phil Kincaid along with Wildcats head coach Brian McCloskey for another edition of Coach's Corner. And of course, the Wildcats were off this past weekend as they took a little break to allow for a couple of their players to participate in the Four Nations Cup. And the news out of the Four Nations Cup is the United States beat Canada in a shootout to take the title this past weekend. And I think some of the highlights there, we had a couple players that were participating. Casey Bellamy played for the United States, and Jen Wakefield, who I guess scored a goal in the first game, participated for Team Canada. A couple of standout players this season already.
Absolutely. We're very proud of both of them, and I'm proud of all our players, but really excited that they got that opportunity to represent the country. And clearly the parity between Canada and the U.S. is probably as fierce and closely tight competitively as it's ever been. So the championship game came down to a overtime and then a shootout, which we've seen, and the U.S. came out on top. I'm not sure either the winner or the loser is thrilled with the shootout resolution to a major tournament like that, but I think it was a great experience for both of them, and they obviously represented UNH extremely well.
Yeah, you take a look at the rosters for the teams, and it's just a hockey hall of fame in terms of women. I mean, you've got some real top names, some Patty Kazmaier Award winners are on that list. Yeah. So for the opportunity to be able to play in that level of competition must be very exciting.
Yeah, I think anytime you don't feel you get the chance to take your game to another level and play with some of these, as you mentioned, real, the biggest names in your sport, and people like you say who've won national championships, people who've elevated the sport over the last decade, a lot of them. It's got to be a huge thrill. I mean, those are, and I think what's happened for both Casey and Jen is that they've started to settle down a little bit when they get to that level. I think at first it's kind of like your first time in the NHL. You look around and you're like, oh my God, I'm in the locker room with Gretzky and Sakic, and I think now in both Jen and Casey's situation, I think they've become, I think, a little more accustomed to being in the presence of those players. I don't know that they're in awe of them so much, but they certainly respect them. And it's, as you said, I think getting the opportunity to represent your country at that level with those athletes is fabulous. And we're extremely proud of both of them.
Well, Casey and Jen have had great starts to the season for UNH, but there have been a number of other players who also have been standouts so far early in the season. I know that one of the players that you think has really stepped it up so far this season is Kelly Patton.
No, Kelly's had she's playing the best hockey of her UNH career, and she's been just a dynamo. I mean, she's been, and I think it's not just on the score sheet. It certainly is showing up on the score sheet. Creating goals and scoring as well, but defensively, Kelly's really at an elite level. She is so intelligent and reads off of her teammates, anticipates well. One of the best penalty killers, I think, in the country, and she's playing with a ton of confidence. And really exciting to watch Kelly right now. I mean, we've been, obviously, with a smaller roster this year, you're relying on less in terms of numbers of individuals, and Kelly's just made an enormous impact this year.
Another player who's had a good start to the season. You may not see it in a lot of points necessarily, but what I notice about her play is some real tough work in the corners, willing to mix it up, and that is she's a veteran now. And that, of course, is Angela Taylor.
Yeah, Angela's game has made a quantum leap this year. I think it's confidence. And I've been, I think our whole team's been so impressed with the way she's handled herself this year. I think she's more comfortable. I think she's figured out, or I think figured out may be the wrong term. I think she's become more acclimated to the style we play, and realizing that she can do, and understanding, I guess, realizing and understanding the things she can do effectively. You mentioned the corners, her size, her puck protection skills. She is showing up on the score sheet, maybe not as much as as Kelly right now or Sam Faber or Wake, but she's right there, and she's creating chances for her line mates, and she's contributing on both ends. She's also someone that we've come to rely on defensively a lot. I mean, Angela's killing penalties for us this year. Her defensive plays improved leaps and bounds from her first couple of years here. So she's been a huge contributor, and I think it's all boils down to confidence.
Yes, she mentioned that. I think her experiences, international experiences last season, playing for Great Britain and being the captain of that team and leading that team to a world title has made a big difference for her.
No question. I think you can see it in the locker room. She's a leader, and she carries herself with a lot of poise right now, and she's just at a stage in her career. I think sometimes we've seen this happen in the past with some of our other players. Remember when it happened for Leah Craig, is they reach that point where they realize their college career is coming to a close, and I think it really helps them focus on what matters and what works, and that's definitely been the case for Angela.
Well, we couldn't go to the end of the coach's corner without saying something about, of course, Sam Faber. She's at the top of the score sheet, but as you mentioned after the BU game, she is the player who tends to get the goal when you need it most.
Yeah, Sam's been, and of course, Sam is an elite player and could have easily been up in Lake Placid playing for USA. She's she's just one of those players. How can you question Sam's ability or the knack she has when she's done it repeatedly? I mean, she's one of those unique players that has a real sense for vulnerable when the other team's vulnerable and knows how to exploit that. She's been doing lugging a lot of ice. She's doing a terrific job, man up, man down, especially her and Kelly Patton on penalty kill. And we're going to need that out of Sam. I think what we're hoping is we can see it spread, and I think you're seeing some of that balance. But Sam's a catalyst for us. I mean, there's no question. Her and up front, her and Jen Wakefield and all that. And Courtney Burchard's been playing some awfully good hockey for us right now, and maybe been a little snake bit around the net, but she's getting chances, and it's kind of like making contact with a ball in baseball. Eventually they're going to drop. And then I would also add that one of the things that was probably most pleasing going into the break was seeing Shannon Sisk, Sarah Cuthbert, Julie Allen, some of those kids that have had less experience really stepping their game up and contributing on both sides of the puck, and I just think that's exciting because that's what we're going to need moving forward. We're going to need to get that balance if we're going to continue to, because we've got a stretch coming up here, Phil, where heading into the break, the Christmas break, in the next 3 weeks or so, we've got about 8 contests, and of course we got Maine coming up Friday, which will be a very strong game. They always play tough in their own building, and they're certainly an improved team from last year. Then we've got Wisconsin for a pair. I know we've got Northeastern, Harvard twice, BU again. So we've got some really tough games coming up in the next 3 weeks. But I'm looking forward to them because I think we've made some progress collectively as a group, and we're going to be put to the test, and that's what we need.
Great, Coach. We'll be back next week. We'll take a look at that Maine game and then, again, preview that trip to Florida where you get the opportunity to take on last year's national runner-up, Wisconsin.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Coach.